Hi everybody and welcome to my channel. So today's video is going to be a do-it-yourself travel journal, and this one you can make for about $2. So the two items that I used are just a very small photo album, and these are called different things like depending when you look online. They're called either a pocket photo album or a flex photo album. Mine just says a regular photo album, and I got this at Walmart. You can probably find them at other places, but this was 97 cents. So you're going to need a photo album, and then you're also going to need a stack of index cards, which you can also find at Walmart or of course at the dollar store. So with $2 and some pens that I'm sure that you have at home, you can go ahead and create your own type of travel journal. So let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so this is the first page of the travel journal, and I just created this with markers and some planner stickers that I had laying around. On the next page, I have a place to write down where I'm going to go. And then before I go on a trip, I always do three things. I always write down items that I need to buy for the trip. I write down anything that I need to get done before I leave for the trip. And then I also write down anything I need to clean or laundry or anything that needs to be taken to the dry cleaners, depending on the trip, of course. So those three things I just have right here, and obviously you can take these index cards out and write on them and put them back in. The next page is just going to be a note section, and I would use this maybe to make a list of something that is out of the ordinary, something that I would not normally pack or something that I would not normally do, just to keep myself and my family on track. The next page is going to be the start of my packing list, and the way that I have this set up is by category, and then this is really easy. These index cards, for the most part, you can use for multiple trips. So on this page we have clothing, and then once I have packed that item, you can either just put a check mark if that works for you, or if you know how many days you're going to be gone. Say you're going to be gone for 10 days, then you would need 8 shirts or 4 shirts depending on whether or not you have laundry. You could write tally marks. So the first section is going to be clothing. Then the second section is going to be any toiletries that you may need, things that maybe you use on a daily basis that you definitely don't want to forget on this trip. The next section is going to be media, and these are of course going to be anything electronic, but also things that you don't want to forget, like your passport and itinerary, sunglasses, anything along those lines. And these are going to be typical things that you would not carry with you in your purse. I don't carry these things with me in my purse. I normally take a backpack or a travel bag and specifically have all of these things inside of it. The next section is going to be a medical section, and these are going to include daily medications you may take. I always bring with me Tylenol and allergy pills, just depending on where we're going. You could also pack sunscreen or aloe vera, just depending on your trip. Okay, and then the next section is just going to be your travel budget. So on this page, you could write down how much you are going to budget yourself, whether you are going to bring cash or if you are going to bring a credit card and you already have that cash in your savings account. So you can budget out where you're going to stay, places you're going to eat, fun activities that you are going to participate in, how much money you're going to designate for souvenirs, and also transportation like Ubers. And then I also definitely want to remember tipping, because I think that when we go out of town and we're excited about vacation or a travel tip, that we also often forget about the little extras that do add up, and tipping is one extra that can definitely send you over your budget. Okay, and then the next section that I wrote down is just information about any hotels or flights that you may have. If you're staying in a large city, obviously there could be more than one hotel. For example, if you're staying in a Hilton and you're staying in a very large city, there's going to be multiple Hilton hotels in that city. So that's why I think it's really important for you to write down your hotel name and also the telephone number where they can be reached, just in case, you know, your cell phone dies or you can't find their location or anything like that. And then also for family members that are going to stay at home, like my mother-in-law, when we fly, she always tracks us through various apps. So you just want to write down your departure and your arrival cities, and you can also write down your departure and arrival times. Okay, and then the next page is just going to be fun activities that you're going to go to. These can be things like going to a state park, going to a theme park, or maybe just going to see a movie. And then there's a place also to write down your fee, because you do want to keep in mind of your budget when you're traveling out of town, so you stick to your budget. This is something that you can pre-plan, and I would definitely recommend pre-planning before you go on a trip, but it's also something that you can fill out while you're there. If you are just one of those people who doesn't want to make any plans, you just want to dive into that city, it's something that you can fill out, once again, just to keep that budget in mind. The next section is just going to be for reservations, and these can be reservations for places to eat, such as a fancy Italian restaurant, and then you can write down the attire that you need to bring with you if you need a fancy dress, or if your husband or boyfriend needs a dinner coat or anything like that. But then they can also be reservations for things such as a museum viewing or anything that requires a reservation. If you're going to stay in a beach house, this could also be your check-in and your check-out times, and then you can also write down the contact information for anyone's home that you're staying in, if you're staying in an Airbnb or if you're staying in a personal rental. Okay, and then the next section is going to be something that you can fill out while you're on the trip or when you come back home, and these are just going to be memories, just things that happen that maybe you didn't get a chance to take a picture of, either with your cell phone or with an actual camera, but things that you just want to remember. Something, that was amazing, or someone that was really interesting that you met. You definitely want to have a place, of course, to write down your memories, because for me, the whole purpose of traveling is to make new memories in new places. Okay, and then the next section is a place for you to write down the weather. There's a bunch of great apps that you can get the weather for various places that you're going. One of them is called PreK Point Play, or I'll get the name of the app and insert it down here on the bottom of the screen. But basically, you can put in the city that you're going to, how many nights you're going to be there, and then it will give you the weather for that time. Something else you could do is just go to weather.com and put in the city that you're going to, and that way you can write in what the temperature is supposed to be, and then you can bring, maybe a light jacket. That's something that you always want to take with you just in case. And also, I think it's really important to write down whether you're going to bring sandals or flats. Okay, and then the next section is just a list of people that you want to see and things that you want to do with them. If you're going out of town to meet up with family members or close friends that you haven't seen in a long time, I think it's really important to kind of write down a little itinerary of things that you definitely want to get done and people that you definitely want to see. If you're going to spend the time and the money and coordinate all of these things to go out of town, I just think it's really important to write down kind of what your game plan is. So that is the last item that I put in this travel journal. Something else that I added, because I had the space at the end, is just places to add photos. So on the first page, I just wrote day 1, and then you could add a picture when you get back. You can either print it with the small digital printers that people can carry with them, or like you can print it at any type of photo printing place like CVS, Walmart, Walgreens, anything like that. So for day 1, for example, you can write down the places that you went on the first day, and that way when you're going back to print the pictures, you already know where you were, who you were with, and anything important that happened. Then we have a place for day 2. And this is going to be the same concept. We have a place for day 3. day 4, and there was room for one more, and that's going to be day 5. So that is the end of the photo album. I hope that you guys found this informative and hopefully inspirational for you to create your own. Once again, this only cost about $2 because most of the stickers I had just from previous orders. A lot of the stickers that I used just came from the small sampler little sets that you get from orders that I've had probably years ago. So for me, it was really fun to create this. I hope that you guys find this helpful. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye.